from the gun again on first down. Fires wide. Juan Daniels, touchdown, Georgia.
This is your favorite receiver, Juan Daniels, and you're listening to the DGD Podcast with my man, Robert Reynolds. Go Dogs!
Welcome back. Welcome back. It's been too long. Oh my goodness. There's a lot to talk about. A lot to uncover, man. A lot to uncover. Look, thank you everybody. Welcome back to the DGD Podcast. As always, NCDGD himself and Mr. Juan Daniels. Juan, how was the break, man? How was the break for you?
It was great, man. This is this is my favorite time of year. Georgia Bulldogs playing great in November, and then it's my candy cane Tic Tacs, something I get every year.
Tis the
comes
season.
Around once a year. Tis the season, yeah. So all I want for Christmas is a Georgia national championship. So I think that's looking better and better as we go down this stretch.
I'm just gonna let you know if I get one wish for Christmas, I'm gonna let you know right now. I want to be in that locker room of Florida, listening to Kirby Smart, which we're going to talk about, by the way.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So stick around, Brigade. You know it's coming. I can't wait. I can't wait. I cannot wait to talk about that. But look, let's go ahead. Look, obviously today brought to you by La Terrain Watches. Use code DGD at checkout for 10% off your purchase. La-Terrain, TOURAINE.com. Check them out. Let's go ahead and get started. There's a lot to uncover. Obviously, we were not having shows last week. Obviously, with, taking a little break, right? What were your thoughts on the Missouri game?
We came out and we did what we were supposed to do. We absolutely dominated them. The sad part for Missouri is, just kind of like we talked about, a couple of weeks ago, they just aren't a very good football team. And then when you go up against the Missouris of the world, everybody talks about you have a weak schedule and, you're not playing strong enough teams. But maybe you should look at it as, hey, maybe Georgia is just that dominant. And I just think that they came out and they dominated them. I was talking to some friends about even the Tennessee game. I said, Tennessee's going to come out with that fast pace. They may get a couple on us, but after we adjust, it's just going to be, lights out. So going from Missouri to Tennessee, guess what? Georgia's been doing exactly what they were supposed to be doing.
I'm just going to say this right here. 2 field goals. Kind of a little bit disappointment, right? Considering how bad Missouri's been. Yep. I'm not going to waste my time talking about Missouri because there's also another recap that just happened this past Saturday that I really want to get about. And listen, I'm just going to let you know right now. Tennessee wore black to their own funeral. They did not follow what Georgia happened in. They did not see what happened in 2008 with Georgia.
Right.
And so basically, I'm hearing Vince Gill in my headset right now. Go rest high on that mountain because Georgia killed them at home.
Yeah, that's true.
Why you chose homecoming for the Dogs? Peyton Manning. Look, I'm just saying. Yeah, I don't know why you did it, but to the credit here, and we'll talk a little bit about this right now. I have to give credit for that Tennessee team because under Heupel, they are legitimately better than I thought they were going to be, moving it faster than I thought they would, and that's figuratively and literally, especially on offense. Yeah. And I'm not saying anything because there is a moral victory here, scoring 17 on Georgia. You still got killed, but you scored 17, which is a trend this year so far. Who can score the most on Georgia's defense? That's the victory in itself. But you had mentioned we haven't played nobody. You hear that? I've heard this almost every week. It's the same song and dance. And honestly, I look at it as a good thing because now we're starting to get into this realm where you with your Bamas and Clemson's and your elite teams, they hear this all the time. So now is a good time to understand, embrace it, understand that it can get agitating. I understand. But nonetheless, it's something that we better get used to because I think it's here to stay. Every week, this is a test. This is a test. They're going to get tested. This is the week. Can Georgia, but then as soon as we dominate, do what we expect to do, they didn't play nobody weeks down the road. Looking at teams, looking at Clemson, looking at Arkansas, Kentucky, right? I look at it this way. We can't help what happens after we play them. We look at what happens when we play them. We played a top 3 team in Clemson. What happened afterwards? Not on us, but we played them at their healthiest point, and we dominated them, even though the score was a very ugly score. It was a baseball score. Nonetheless, we still dominated. 2, you look at Arkansas, top 15 matchup. Top 15. I think they were 11 to 12.
No, I believe they were 8 at the time.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
They
Sorry.
were 8. They were
Kentucky
8
was 11. That's it. Top 10 matchup. This is a test. They haven't seen Arkansas. I'm telling you, they're going to do that 37-0. Arkansas, backtrack. Kentucky, same way. Now, I you know what? To my credit, though, I'm going to say this. I gave them credit because they have an efficient offense. And guess what? To this point, they had the best game plan, in my opinion, to score on Georgia. Now, they just didn't score enough. Obviously, Tennessee getting 17.
Right.
But Kentucky, this offense, I think they, no. It's the same song and dance all year. But then you go back and look at it. We haven't played nobody. Georgia just exposes and they break teams' will to play. That's all it is. That's all it is. What are your thoughts on that, though? Because it's the same thing. In my opinion, I feel like you're hearing the same thing over and over and over. Maybe it's something I feel like we need to embrace, but what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, again, these are top teams when we play them, and everybody's giving them all this type of praise. And then, of course, when they get exposed and get absolutely crushed, then next thing you know, it's, we just haven't played such a great team. And then they were looking at offensive rankings, and where they rank offensively. Well, after they play Georgia, I mean, they go down like significantly. I mean, their passing yards, their rushing yards, the number of first downs, the points that they have. I mean, it is a significant drop. And so if that's all they have, if that's all they have to say, I'm completely fine with that. What I love about this team is there's not been a game where we said, here comes Georgia playing that Georgia football. Here they're backtracking, or they're backsliding into that old Georgia football. It has not been that. It has been complete domination each and every game.
Look, I'll tell you right now, obviously 10-0, first time since 82 that we have went undefeated in SEC play. History was made Saturday. And honestly, look, it's crazy to me to believe that in this Tennessee game, we gave up 17 points with a flu bug. That's really the biggest deterrent to this defense. What's stopping us the most? The flu. Because let's be honest, I watched Jalen Carter, sick as a dog, manhandle players.
Yeah.
If you saw the clip on the tape or whatever of him just legitimately pushing that running back like he was a rag doll with that fever,
yeah,
that's scary. That is scary. And I don't expect this flu to last months at a time. So people are going to get healthy, right? Things like that.
Right.
I'm telling you right now, that's a bad sign to give up 17 points when we're at our worst, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's insane. It really is. But I do want to talk about the Tennessee game. I'm over the Missouri game. That was just expected. Missouri is terrible. I do want to focus on Tennessee because, it's the Vols, and we hate the Vols here too. So let's give our game ball section here. We're going to go to the game ball segment. One game ball, who are you giving it to? I'll let you go first, Juan.
James Cook. I mean, if we go back to preseason and just talking about the Clemson game, I just said James Cook out of the backfield is, he's unstoppable. There's nobody that can guard him. You can line him up as a wide guy, which they did. They lined him up at a wide guy. You have to bring a linebacker out there. He just blows right by him. He is a difficult guard. He's just he changes the game completely. So mine's going to James Cook.
I'm going Channing Tindall. Look, what I'm seeing from James Cook has been 4 years in the making. I love what I'm seeing, by the way. I'm not saying anything about it. I'm telling you right now, I love what James Cook did. But Channing Tindall, if I had to be different here, Channing Tindall earned every bit of a damn game ball to me. 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and my man played his ass off. And you're looking at the game where we didn't know who at the time had the flu or whatever, because they mentioned numbers, but they didn't say who. Obviously, we knew Jalen at the time during the game, but I'm looking at guys that had an impact, right? I think Jordan Davis didn't play as much of an impact that you would think normally. Leads me to believe I think he had it maybe, but I'm not here saying yes or no there. But but Channing Tindall had a damn game and a half, and really shut down their offense. But there's also a personnel change as we segment out of our game ball segment. Some in-game changes, right? In-game adjustments on defense more so than anything really there was a couple, one offensively and a little bit on defense. I'll go into that a little bit later. Really changed the outcome of this game. Obviously, watching the game, look, Tennessee missed some shots. Second play, perfect example, perfect touchdown, overthrow. When you're playing Georgia, you can't miss, especially that wide open. But neither here nor there. Looking at, the adjustment move, obviously Brini got caught looking. Kirby did not hesitate to sit here and really make the adjustment, putting Dan Jackson back at safety, moved Chris Smith down to the star. And after that, I think it was like the third drive or whatever. After that, you really saw the defense clamp down. How much of that was, adjustments and getting comfortable with what they were presenting. Look, after those first. But really, to me, defensively, we saw that change take place once we saw that adjustment. And I think ultimately that's what really stymied their offense. What were your thoughts on that adjustment? I don't know if you paid attention to it or not.
Yeah, I actually did. I mean, we had, like you said, you get caught looking. We had a couple of pass interference plays. One of the things that makes this Georgia team different is most teams are trying to do their adjustments at halftime. They're trying to figure it out, whereas you see that they're identifying something right away, and they are not afraid to make those adjustments, not afraid to make those changes. And then, like you said, they clamp down. And again, those first couple of drives, I mean, were we able to adjust, and understand that speed? We weren't. And then too, like on one of the drives, you see Jordan Davis, he went down, and so not to say that he did that to try to slow that pace, but once those adjustments took place, it was a completely different game. And that's what other teams have not been able to do against Tennessee, is make those game time, in-game adjustments. They'd have to wait to halftime to figure out personnel-wise, who do we need to put where, who do we need to switch up, or what needs to take place. And Kirby did that right away.
Also, I do want to look in while we're talking defense here before we transition over to the offense, but Kirby played this as about as good as you can imagine. Knowing tempo, right? That's the key word for tempo, is their T word on offense. The fact that when they substituted, Kirby substituted, right? But he took advantage of it by letting these guys almost walk off the field.
Yep.
Because, as you know, the ref has to wait for both teams to substitute. That right there, to me, that subtle move of sportsmanship saved our defense, gave them life when you needed a break, especially in game, because there was a lot of times where you had to keep the same guys out because of how fast they were going.
Yeah.
Obviously you could. We got called for multiple guys. Obviously the 12 men on the field or whatever. Jordan trying to run from the far side. So basically, you were limited to short side substitutions.
Yep.
And that's a testament to their tempo, like I said. So Kirby took that and ran with it and played it perfectly, giving these guys a break. But also, what happened on offense? Sustaining drives, and the ability to score. Obviously, I wouldn't say a ton of points, but the ability to maintain drives kept the defense off the field, kept them fresher than what they obviously with the flu. That was huge because if our offense is lacking, right, it creates all sorts of chaos on the defense. To me, Nakobe Dean looked gassed. And, and it's hard to see him get gassed. And to see him do that, they were moving.
Yeah, there's no way to simulate that in practice. I mean, there's just not. I mean, you can try to use your scout team. Sometimes you can try to use your first or second string guys, but you cannot simulate that in practice. And so it makes it difficult. But even when you just talked about offensively, Stetson Bennett's legs kept those drives going. I mean, a lot of times where, we were sure going to be a 3rd and out, 3 and out. He goes, takes off, runs around the end, gets the first down. Same thing when he ran in for the touchdown. So those are little, intangible things that, that it means a lot. And it gives that defense rest. And it just gives, Georgia that extra edge when it actually comes to, just completely just, owning these football games.
And obviously we talked about the defensive adjustments in game, which leads me to the offensive adjustment on the offensive side of the ball. To me, early, the interior of the offensive line was getting manhandled, and it was obvious. And this is against a defense that just played the week before 99 snaps, and you were still getting manhandled. And honestly, the interior of this offensive line has been a vulnerability ever since Tate Ratledge went down. But there's another guy that he didn't get a game ball, but damn, he played his ass off, and that's Xavier Truss, filling in for McClendon. I love Erickson. Sorry. I love Erickson, but to me, at right guard, he just isn't the guy.
Yeah.
He just isn't the guy.
And we noticed that at Clemson. I mean, that was, was the one of those issues that we were having, when it came to that Clemson game and our worries. And then, even going, when we played, the lesser teams, the UABs and all that, it just, it was just evident that, that was definitely a weak spot.
And, honestly, looking at that right there, like I'm not going to bash a kid, but when you become that kind of vulnerable, when you're that liability, unfortunately, to me, you have to make those changes. And, I think Luke loves Erickson. I understand that. But in this game, especially at the time that the change was made, Stetson did not have time to really do anything. No. Really didn't. And, and obviously with Jamari Sawyer out, that really limited the offensive line in regards to getting the right guys in there. Because let's be honest, if he's healthy and he's back, I don't think it's as much of an issue. But with him being out, obviously you're kind of a little bit less on the depth, right? But moving Truss into the right guard and keeping Schaefer there and things like that. Look, he came in and made some great blocks that opened up James Cook to have the game that he did. And really, if you notice, it also helped allow Stetson some time to throw the ball.
Yep.
That change on the offensive line changed our offense because, in my opinion, we were able to move the ball. I mean, we were able to move the ball regardless, but it really, in my opinion, opened up time to give Stetson the ability to see the field.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
To me, that helped boost the offense to the point where we were able to get away. And once we scored, we knew we were going to score. It was just how we were going to do it. And once we were able to get that lead, there was no question. Once that change was made, you saw a lot more time to make, protection changes, things like that. However, I have something about Stetson that I do not like, and that is running back so far. I've talked about Bo Nix doing this. I don't like that. He got saved by that horse collar tackle. To me, that drive, he was just careless with the ball. And that's something you can't do. I don't care what the score of the game is. You still cannot do that.
Yeah. He's, fortunately for Stetson, he's afforded mistakes just because of how good our defense is. I mean, that's just, that's one of those things. And at least I can say that from where he was last year, that there has been a maturity level. But of course, you're always going to have your lapses, and those things are lapses, and those things can be momentum changers, because that was at a crucial time of the game, when that took place. So I totally get that.
And honestly, you can be nitpicky, right? I think that's the case, right? I've been wanting to see JT Daniels, but we're not seeing him. And, I don't know, maybe to me, I was thinking that, it was JT not being 100% healthy and just trying to preserve it. I'm also looking at it this way. Maybe against Tennessee, Stetson fit the game plan better because there were several plays that we saw where he made plays with his feet. Tennessee started rushing, forced Stetson to stand there with the ball. And that right there opened, they were rushing 3 and dropping a ton back into coverage and trying to make him hold the ball and read and do what they had to do. That opened his legs up. And with JT, I don't know if that's the case. Now, there were some passes that, obviously I think you remember this drive where A.D. Mitchell turned in to be the man that drive. But, the errant throw, I wouldn't say errant throw, but the inaccuracy on that throw to Bowers, which, let's be honest, that catch was ridiculous.
It was nice. Yeah. I can't believe they didn't give it to him.
Oh, man, I wanted that so bad. That was beautiful. Obviously, called it incomplete. But then you see him fix himself in that drive. You see accurate throws, ballsy throws, right? A.D. Mitchell, tight window, bam, move the ball down the field. A.D. gets look after look after look, and then the touch on that James Cook touchdown pass was ridiculous. I loved how it was just perfect touch right where he could get it, and it was just beautiful pass. I love that. I love that. Obviously, he bounced back from that that incompletion because let's be honest, we wouldn't have saw that pass and saw the adjustments that he made if he hits that pass because Bowers was hitting his head on the goalpost, but the pass was just not there. Which leads me to question here. I want to see Darnell get more passes. Like what I'm seeing with Bowers, I'm not going to take that. Like I'm not going to take it and make it a bad thing. But I want to see Darnell get some passes. And obviously, looking at the rest of the season, I think now, or this coming up Saturday and next against Georgia Tech, there's no reason not to sit. But, kind of looking around here, we haven't talked to the brigade, and we haven't saw what they're talking about. It's been so long. The brigade has been ready for this, I think. And let's go back and look at some comments that we're seeing here. Going back a little bit earlier, I saw Tennille mention the only ranking that makes sense is Georgia being number 1. And I completely agree with that. I
agree with that too. And then you have Miriam here that says the only thing that concerns her with Stetson is that, he takes sacks, and he gets kind of inaccurate under pressure, but he hits the long ball just great. And here's the pattern I'm starting to notice with Kirby that can be a little bit concerning when it actually comes to JT Daniels is we have kind of had this situation before where we had Jacob Eason, and Jacob Eason goes and just kind of gets hurt. And next thing you know, it's the Fromm show. Jacob Eason then goes and transfers, and you're just kind of left with Jake Fromm, who unfortunately was not able to finish the deal. And it's just kind of concerning. I just don't understand the logic when it comes to what Kirby's doing from a quarterback standpoint. And I know he's the head coach and they have a winning formula. But, when it comes to looking at the future of Georgia, that's where you just kind of get in trouble. And that's where we ended up with Fromm is his senior year. I mean, it was just an absolute disaster. We let Justin Fields go. But that same year, Jacob Eason gets drafted pretty high. And we just let Jacob Eason go. Just, that's the only thing that concerns me with Kirby's pattern on how he's actually, using his quarterbacks.
Absolutely. And, honestly, now that you talked about Kirby, we're going to go on a quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some audio that got leaked out. We're going to talk about it pretty damn in depth. But we're going to take a break real fast. And on the flip side of that, we're going to talk about this leaked audio. Be right back.
They say every watch tells a story. Family, moments, lifetimes. With La Touraine, this is a watch that spans generations, not just from where it came from, but for where it will go. Knowing one of these, having one of these, is what being a professional, being casual, and being you is all about. From our family to yours, La Terrain.
And we're back. I'm going to jump right into it, Juan. I'm going to jump right into this because I'm telling you right now. We're going to play this clip. We're about to play a clip of the leaked audio. And I'm just going to let you know now, it is not suitable for work. NSFW warning, folks. If you have young kids, please, earmuffs is all I'm going to say, because there's some choice words that are used pretty proficiently and abundantly at this point. But we're going to play it, and then we're going to break it down and discuss it. So after this, we're going to talk about the Coach Kirby Smart leaked audio.
I still remember like yesterday walking out of this pitch at the half. The look and the feeling I had, looking at Tyson, looking at Stokes, looking at those guys. You know what, guys? This is our fucking year. This is our fucking year. We do it by how we play. It's 0 to fucking 0, and you make them never want to play again. All that shit they're talking, I love it, Jamar. You didn't say shit. You don't say shit to them. You just laugh and point at the scoreboard. Let me get a picture, JD, pointing at the first scoreboard. Don't say shit to their undisciplined ass, because we are disciplined. And our ass still don't take the fucking shit out of them. Physically, I want to break them. I'm talking about fucking break these bitches on defense and offense. Let's go, defense.
I want to run through a brick fucking wall.
Jump out of a building. Jump out of a building.
God. All right, so if that's your first time listening, this was leaked a couple days ago, apparently from the game at Florida in Jacksonville. Obviously, Kirby was fired up, even though we had just, we were, ahead. I think it was 24-10 at that point, or 24-0. Sorry, my fault. Look, I'm telling you right now, there's negative and positives with leaked media, leaked things like that. This right here, I don't see it being negative one bit. You played with him. What are your thoughts?
If you have a problem with anything that he said, the manner in which he said it, his language and all that, go do something else. Really, just go play cornhole, shoot marbles, go do something else. Like that right there, like you just talked about, that makes me want to run through a brick wall. I would love to have played under a coach that had that much fire, that much enthusiasm, and that just much. It was just crazy when he just said, you just break them, make them not want to come out and play again. And they did just that. That electricity that sent through was absolutely amazing. Whoever leaked the video is a classic clown. They just want to stir stuff, and they're just lame. They probably hate Georgia with a passion. But that's what you're going to get when you're on top. When you're in the spotlight, you're going to have some clowns that want to bring you down and be all, oh, well, this guy, he's cursing, so I don't know. I'll take that any day, all day long, all day long. I think your audio is out. I can't hear you. But you got, Kirby's visor says, if you have an issue with that, how are you even, a fan of football to begin with? And I agree. I absolutely agree. We have Jay Shipes that was saying that Muschamp leaked that video. It was planned, but I don't care who leaked that video. There's no difference from that. And when you had that Drew Brees, they had their little huddle, and they'd be like 1, 2, and everybody would just get all excited and just get ramped up and revved up. But that's something right there that you can listen to before going into a workout, doing some intramural things or whatever you want to go out there and do. That right there was absolutely exciting. I would listen to that absolutely all day. And Tennille, you were right. Kirby 100% meant it. And guess what? They did exactly that. They broke them to the point to where they were, they struggled last week against a Samford team. They allowed 56 something points. That's pretty bad. That is pretty bad. Robert, I don't know if you were back on. Robert is still having some technical difficulties, but again, Patrick Oliver, you're right. That's exactly what he told him. Jermaine was in the chat too, just showing just that type of excitement. So who would not want to be in a situation to play for the Dogs? Who right now is not fired up as a fan? Because I'm definitely fired up as a fan. Kirby Visor says, Kirby walks it, he talks it, he teaches it, and he preaches it, and I'll be doggone, he definitely does. And we got Miriam said, I know they won't, but I wish they'd play it before the games at Sanford. I promise you right now, you would hear an absolute roar that is just out of this world. The crowd would absolutely go nuts. You probably see people body surfing in Sanford Stadium, just being that excited. But you're absolutely right. Like, I get chills just thinking about that. And I think Robert is back.
That I am. God almighty, technical difficulties, man. Look, I'm telling you right now, when you hear that, look, and honestly, I don't understand how you can take it negatively outside of the language. It doesn't matter, because I'm telling you right now, football players, they don't care about that language. That hypes them up. Chris Milton, right? We had him on the show for Veterans Day special. Preached it. The players loved it. In my opinion, I know, Juan, you had mentioned that, somebody could have leaked it, just try to put some negative publicity there. It would not surprise me for somebody within the program to post this, leak this out, because everything is calculated. There's no way to sit here and turn this negatively.
You're right.
Even players' parents love that fear and enthusiasm, and I would not be surprised if he sits there and has that in his office for these next batch of recruits coming in, these elite recruits, out of nowhere, just hear that shit.
Yeah, I hear. I have a son that's going to Stanford, but if he were a Georgia player and I heard that Kirby was saying something like that, I would just be fired up. And if my son was not fired up just as much, I'd be like, something is wrong with you, buddy. Something is absolutely wrong with you.
Yeah, I mean, look, you went through this, and Kirby did as well, when Florida would just beat the shit out of Georgia. And he doesn't forget about that. And when you take things like that personally, because he understands what it's like to lose against Florida. So anytime that he can beat the shit out of him and break them bitches, as it was obviously clear and abundant in that leaked audio, I'm for it. I mean, you see this G.
Yeah,
I see the dog on your shirt. Anybody within the Georgia football program, if you have a problem with that, check your fan card.
Right, exactly.
Check your fan card. And Kirby and Visor, perfect. Rival fans are saying they wish that was their team's coach saying it. And you know what? I heard it myself too, so I have to agree with that, because it's exactly true. I even heard it from Florida guys saying that they wish that was them. And I'm telling you right now, so tell me if you can. I'll wait. Anybody in the brigade want to talk to me about this? Tell me how it's negative. I'll wait. Because it's not. Because I'm telling you right now, you know what it's not? This leaked audio is not Dan Mullen dancing on TikTok. We saw how cringeworthy that was. Right. It's not Dabo doing Dabo got that drip. It's not that shit either. Now, I don't see Dabo being on the same level as Dan Mullen, but let's be honest. If I hear that leaked audio, it has some choice words, sure, I get it. But like we said, as soon as we played it, I'm still wanting to run through a brick wall right now. Yeah. This is what it is. That's what it is. You
cannot be excited just to go and just absolutely feel that passion, because he has a passion for beating Florida. And if those kids didn't have that passion after hearing that, you almost have to. You absolutely almost have to.
Now, look, the only downfall to this, and I've heard this before, is you hear that level of speech and you only go out and put 10 more points on the board. I get that, but we still outscored Florida in the second half. Nonetheless. I mean, it was 0-0. Not really, but you get what I mean. Patrick Oliver, perfect example. It is negative for everyone wishing Kirby was their leader.
Yep.
Damn, what an accurate statement.
Love it. Love it.
Jermaine King. I don't know if you're familiar with Jeff Sintel, where he does his show Wednesday nights on the Dog Nation platform. He had Bear Alexander on there doing an interview and talking with the Dog Nation faithful and everything. And he heard the clip or whatever, saw the clip, and then texted Jeff and said, "That's my coach." Perfect example of how this is a positive recruiting effort for Kirby. And look, let's be honest. Georgia's in a situation where we're recruiting at an elite level anyway. This is only going to fire things up. So from now until national or early signing day, I'm telling you right now, shit's about to get spicy.
Oh yeah. And then Joel says the narc is and nobody needs their negativity. You can just kind of read through the lines. But you're absolutely right. It is somebody that is negative, unless there's something that was done on purpose. But you have a lot of people that just want to see downfall. They just want to see. They just want to hate. They just want to be upset. But I'm telling you what, whatever Georgia's got going on, you can now tell it starts in the locker room. And if you're hearing speeches like that in the locker room, I tell you what, any team that Georgia's playing against, you better beware, because it's things are about to get really, really bad for you.
I'm telling you right now. In my head, I have another speech, a halftime speech from a player, not a coach at the time, that was so moving and motivational and emotional that made me and this is coming from a team that I don't even care for 100%. But the Ed Reed speech, when you heard, do you remember this? When he's like, "I'm hurt, dog."
Yeah.
Don't ask me if I'm right. Joaquin said dominate, and we ain't doing it. That right there. If I'm telling you right now, if you haven't heard that, you definitely are missing out, and you need to find that, because that is one of those speeches where there's so much emotion and so much passion behind it. To me, that right there is what builds team relationship and camaraderie and just make you go and give it your best. Because if I'm not mistaken, that was the year they won a national title. If I'm not mistaken, that team was arguably the best NFL or the best college team you'll ever see on the field. Ever. Yep. But it just shows you that even in the face of adversity, those guys had a chip on their shoulder, and they played with so much emotion. Their standard was so high that if anything less than their standard of perfection was going on, and you didn't absolutely obliterate and dominate your opponent,
right,
that level of emotion came out, that right there is a sign of a national title contending team.
Oh yeah.
That right, I am telling you, Juan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'd love to talk to Joaquin about that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now,
they expect it. They expect it.
Yeah, and that's what national title contenders and national title championship teams. That's what they're made of. That's their makeup, their foundation. Those principles, that level of the standard, all these sayings and things like that. That means everything. And the fact that I'm seeing these guys doing that on that same level, and it starts from the coach down at this point, that right there tells me it's our fucking year.
Yeah.
As Kirby said.
It's our year. And now, we have a great recruiting problem, because you know what? We can go out there, we can sift through, and we can get those killers, get those assassins that Alabama's and the Clemsons have been getting from year after year. And now we're getting those people that have that same type of passion, that as soon as you hear a speech like that, you are ready to go and absolutely stomp. Absolutely stomp those other players that are out there. And I think that is definitely what is happening.
But one of the things as well, too, and to kind of break this down even more, the maturity, discipline. You hear those words in there. It matters. It matters. How easy is it for someone? How easy is it? And you've played in games like this. You're the better team, and you know they're doing everything they can to try to antagonize you to do stupid shit. Don't say nothing, point at the scoreboard. It's so cliche, but it's so true that you have to live by that.
Yeah.
And the fact that Kirby, you hear him say, don't say shit, just point to the scoreboard. Don't say anything because you're disciplined. That right there, you hear that. Like I said, you hear that passion behind just that statement too. He demands excellence, but it's not even him. It's the players demand that level from everybody else. It trickled down from the seniors all the way to the freshmen. And that right there is a testament to how the culture at Georgia is different from everywhere else outside of maybe Bama, because I think this is the perfect Saban model, replica, if you want to say.
Yeah. But but look at it. Saban got people that were killers. So if you look at all of these coaches that he had, even Muschamp, a killer, even though he was not as successful at South Carolina, Kirby is a killer. You've got, all these guys that are going out there that have, minds of, we need to stomp and crush, absolutely stomp and crush. And now it becomes about recruiting. Who's going to get the recruits? And unfortunately, Sarkisian up at Texas, he doesn't have the recruits. He won't get those for a while, but
Not
Kirby
after
does.
that beat down by Kansas.
Oh man, that was absolute
boy, oh boy, that was
bad. That was bad. But then you look at Jimbo Fisher up at Texas A&M. He came from that same model. He's the first, a Saban assistant that was able to beat him. But if you look at that front of Texas A&M, I mean, they just dominated Alabama, and I can guarantee you that either before the game or at halftime, Jimbo Fisher probably had a like message that Kirby had when it actually came to Alabama. I could guarantee you he did. And those boys came out there and put it on Alabama. So Kirby, it's his turn. It's his time. It is his time.
I no doubt. I mean, look, Kirby is a vocal coach. He's even the hot mic. He is vocal for this hot mic. I'm not going to say it, but everybody heard it on ESPN about the penalty. If you know what I'm talking about, that was funny, and I was like, That's typical Kirby. Fair enough.
Yeah.
The ref was dumb to open his mic up. Just saying, which was funny to me. But looking at this right here, you talked about recruiting, right? I think we're both under the assumption that it's positive for recruiting, and it benefits Georgia because you have a player that played in the times where Florida, you kept getting your ass beat year after year. It was consecutive. You never want to lose, especially as a competitor, but to your rival, it's worse. And Spurrier was a guy that never let up. He never let up. So it was basically, oh, you're down? All right, I'm going to break your nose. Oh, I broke your nose? All right, now I'm going for your neck. I'm coming to destroy you. I'm coming to end you, break your will, whatever you want to call it. Kirby has that mentality, especially when it comes to Florida. So for me, that's something I would expect to hear from him because of the fact that, like I said, y'all played together. He takes that shit personally. You can see it. And now it's completely evident that he takes it personally. And it's transferred from his playing days to his coaching days. And I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, 100%. But think about it too. You just transition because Steve Spurrier hated Georgia. He was at Florida on the Heisman Trophy, but he was 0 for 4 against Georgia. And so it was his life's mission to punish Georgia every chance he got. And he did that while he was kind of flipped, where Kirby was like, I'm so sick of losing to Florida. I think he beat him one time the whole time that he was there. And he just got sick of it. And so now the tides have turned again, and it's our job to punish Florida each and every time that we can. I don't see it going back the other way. I just see Kirby continuing to get better and better recruits, better coaching, and this Georgia machine is about to just be up there for quite some time.
You know, Patrick says that Kirby took Mullen's lunch money and
there,
stuff
Robert?
in the locker. I'm going to add more to it. I am here. Can you hear me?
I think Robert maybe even some yeah.
No, so I think we're good now, perhaps.
I think so.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
God,
Yeah.
I am telling you what, man. Damn, as KTG would say. As KTG would say, damn. But no, I'm telling you right now, you know, kind of taking it here, right? You know, Patrick had mentioned taking his lunch money. I'm going to add you one to it. He gave him a swirly too. So I'm going to say. Because it's not looking good for Florida, man. It's not looking good whatsoever with Florida. It's not looking good. You know, obviously we've talked enough about reviews of the games. We've talked about this leaked video, or audio, I should say. And Tennille brings it up a perfect point. Terrible years. She was at the game in '97 when they broke the 7-game losing streak. You know, it's the same way with Tennessee, right? The hobnail boot, and when you get beat by your rivals for so long, it becomes to a tipping point. And Georgia's been known to break those tipping points in epic fashion. But let's go ahead and do this. So obviously today we're going to hold off on the Q&A. We'll save it for tomorrow. Obviously we're going to talk about we're going to briefly talk about Charleston Southern, because I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a damn bloodbath. Vegas refused to put point spread out. That's telling right there. That's telling. So we'll talk a little bit about the Charleston Southern game, but I want to talk more about recruiting tomorrow. There's some rumblings going on, and maybe what we should expect moving forward for the rest of the season. Because let's be honest, the next two games, you could sleepwalk into there. I don't expect it, but you could sleepwalk and still beat these teams by 40 points. Yeah. Tech is terrible. Charleston Southern, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. So we'll talk more about recruiting, because there's been some huge recruiting talk. Couple of names that are going to come to mind, which we'll bring up tomorrow. But for today's show, we're going to wrap it up. And obviously, we're going to end on this note right here. When it comes to Florida, Georgia's going to break them bitches. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Juan, actually, I'm going to let Juan end us today with some wise words for the day leading into tomorrow. Juan, do you have anything to say to head us out with, man?
I'm with you. Let's just break them bitches. that's the best I got.
It doesn't apply to just Gators. All right, yeah. This is everybody.
It's everybody. Championship or bust.
No, you damn right about that.
Yes, sir.
On that note, though, guys, I hope everybody has a great day. Make sure to check out DGDpodcast.com. Find us. Watch us on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Daily Motion now as well. Like I said, DGDpodcast.com. You can listen to us on podcasts wherever you get them. Make sure to like, subscribe, whatever your platform prefers to do. It matters, as in recruiting matters. Tell that to Dopey Dan. Anyways, have a great day. Juan, looking forward to you talking back here tomorrow, man. And go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
It's the DGD Podcast. Go Dogs.